Justin, The Devil in Me, that is the final episode in the Dark Pictures Anthology Season 1, which is what they're calling it, has a 72 on PC, has a 73 on PS5, and is unscored on the Xbox family of consoles. I have played The Devil in Me. I reviewed it for Game Skinny. That review isn't up yet, but should be going up probably by the time this is out. I played through the whole thing. And Justin, I want you to guess what I gave this out of 10.
6.
How confident are you in that?
I'm so confident that I would say that I'm confident in it.
And you know, Justin, I love the way you said that. But no, unfortunately, I gave this a 3.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I would have never guessed that. Okay, Jesus Christ!
I hate this.
Okay. Well, so there's a lot to unpack here. So, oh my god! So you gave it a 3, which is below the user score.
Yep.
The Metacritic score. The games like Game Rant gave it an 80. Saying the Dark Pictures, The Devil in Me packages in enigmatic killer. Words are tough. Stories of true crime, the spectacle of horror movies, and a group of shy misfits and powerful personalities into a plot that feels deserving of its own big-budget film. It'll leave players questioning everything they know about the killer and each other, and yearning to dive in once again to see other endings, discover more secrets, and try to save everyone. And then we have websites. Let's see the full critic review here. The lowest critic review is a Shack News.
IGN gave it a 5 as well.
Oh, okay. Maybe they went for the IGN Spain gave it an 80. Let me look quickly at the PC version. Maybe that's where the IGN review is here. Yeah, okay, so IGN gave it a 5 out of 10, and they said, The Devil in Me's twisted murder castle setting provides the literal foundations for what could have been an exciting horror adventure, but pacing problems in an insipid group of potential victims makes for a slaycation that's low in stakes and lacking in any substantial thrills or hand-wringing decisions to make. Peter.
Yeah.
Why did you give it a 3?
I worry that our listeners are like, oh, this guy hates everything. Because recently, I feel like over the past 5 weeks, video games, like my relationship with video games has just been like tenuous. We've been fighting a lot. I think it's ever since fucking Gotham Knights came out. No, Scorn. It's been since Scorn that like I've been playing all these games for work that have just sucked. And I'm so mad because I'm missing the good stuff. I played maybe 20 minutes of Pentiment before I had to go to bed. Like 5 days ago. And I was so mad because I was like reading it and I was like getting so into it. And like, I want to play that, but I don't know if I can. And then playing fucking Pokemon too, which we'll talk about in a minute. But like, okay, so, oh gosh. I love Until Dawn. And I really liked The Quarry. And I feel like the Dark Pictures Anthology has taken some pretty big swings in terms of breaking the mold of the usual of like the thing that Until Dawn and The Quarry did, which was like classic teenagers in a horror movie, right? The Until Dawn is kind of like a slasher movie, and then which gets some cool twists in it. And then The Quarry, what do they call it? There's like a good like line where someone says it's not a thriller. It's a creature feature. Like okay. It's a great like monster movie. You know what I mean? The Dark Pictures Anthology has not been any of those like really well-defined like horror like genre tropes, right? It's been taking some pretty big swings. This one is about a group of a documentary film like studio that makes like true crime stuff, just like the cheesiest, like most like exploitive true crime stuff. And they're making a documentary on H.H. Holmes, who was a serial killer in Chicago, I think, in the late 1800s. And basically they get an invitation from someone who has made a perfect recreation of the H.H. Holmes murder castle, because H.H. Holmes apparently ran a hotel, which is how he found his victims and was able to like capture them and stuff like that. So basically they're invited to like a perfect recreation of his house, and the host of this place is nowhere to be found after they show them around initially, and the wait staff of the hotel is all like animatronic robots, and then someone wearing like a big H.H. Holmes mask and outfit comes and tries to murder the whole crew, and that's what the game is. It's just trying to escape the house. It's fucking nonsensical. The characters are just terrible. The acting is really, really stiff and dry. I think it's the worst looking of these games, like in terms of the facial capture, in terms of the environments. Basically, what happens in every single scene is you bumble around some rooms of the hotel, picking up random documents and stuff like that. And then when you go to leave that particular space, you get a little cutscene of the characters like opening the door and walking through. And then the camera lingers on the empty room. And then the murderer, H.H. Holmes guy, steps in, being like, oh, he's following them. He's so close. And then you get a scene with 8 jump scares in it, where it's just a chase scene between H.H. Holmes walking very slowly towards them with a big knife or like an axe or something. And then they escape or they don't, depending on either the QuickTime events or where they need the story to go. And then it all just starts up again. And this H.H. Holmes murderer guy comes back with such like predictable consistency that it is fucking hysterical. Like towards the end of this game, him showing up, he's in like 9 different places at once. And I'm not like, I don't want to spoil this game because I know people like this, but there's nothing going for this game in terms of a narrative. There there's all these questions that the characters start raising about like what's actually going on, and I'm not going to tell you what's actually going on, but because I don't want to spoil it because it's a new game and whatever. But the answer is like the answers are so profoundly uninteresting and so profoundly like disappointing that I'm kind of like, why would anyone ever even? It was a waste of time. It was a waste of time. It's just jump scares, which are effective, but it's not scary, right? Like there's a single scene in this game that I think is scary. And it's where you play as like the audio person in this like little TV crew, and you put like your headphones on and you pick up your microphone and you're like, hold on a second, I hear someone screaming in the distance. And so you're walking the halls of this hotel, all the lights go out and you're just walking around. The only like light you have is from like the screen on your little camera thing, and you're just listening in intently for the microphone. And then as soon as like the shoe drops, then it's just this stupid, like these stupid chase scenes. I don't know. I thought this was just a completely uninteresting, unfun experience. It's the sort of thing where you're supposed to play these games multiple times in order to get new endings and see different scenes and stuff. But I truly don't like, they only had one scene in this whole game that I experienced, and it was just this like boring chase scene. So I don't know what playing it again would do to like what new outcomes I would find or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
You play the other Dark Pictures games, correct?
Played them all.
And where does this stack up amongst those?
It's the worst. It's the weakest of them all, and they all sucked. I mean, like, okay, I thought Little Hope was okay. It has a last minute twist that just makes it so stupid. But I thought that up until this point, I thought Man of Medan, the first one, was the weakest one. Because it was just like an assortment of random horror elements, like just like very loosely thrown together. And Dark, I thought Little Hope was okay. And then I didn't even finish the most recent one, House of Ashes. And then I played this one. So,
and why is this one like, in terms of like a 3 out of 10? That hits to me like there's something exceptionally wrong with the game. Why is this one the worst of all of those?
Because like I said, it's all just the same chase scene over and over and over again. It's the same, like basically you're going to a handful of different environments, but they're all the same. Like it's all white noise. And when the guy shows up, and every single time he shows up, they keep like the background sounds really quiet so that the jump scare sounds can be really loud. It's just fucking white noise at this point. And he shows up and it's not scary because you just assume that he's going to be there because he's in every single scene, you know? The acting, like I said, is really stiff and flat, and the facial capture is really fucking bad. Like their eyes are like, I don't know. I feel like The Quarry, you could like the animations weren't always good, but I think you could pause that game at pretty much any moment and you could make an argument like, oh, it looks like a movie. You know what I mean? Like yeah, you're doing a face about like their facial movements and stuff. And like I said, I don't think the animations are totally there, but like the eyes in the Devil in Me like are just flat and they're not focused or looking at anything. So anytime a character moves their head, the eyes are just directly in front of them. So like when they'll be talking, the actor that was like doing the motion capture, moves their head a little bit or whatever, but the eyes are just these like lifeless things. Just, I know that's like such a small point, but this is the thing that this game like lives and dies on is the performances and the story. And there's nothing to the story. Like I said, the resolution is fucking awful. The characters are uninteresting. The performances are bad. The game, like, I don't know. I wrote this in my review, and it feels like this game was written by like 3 people who didn't read the scenes that they didn't write. So for example, this is really early on. 2 characters are talking about another character, and they're speaking very unkindly about them. And then the person that they're talking about reveals themselves and reveals like, oh, I heard all that you said. And he yells at them. And then he's like, we're going to dinner. Like, come meet us when you guys are ready. Like, it's very clear. Like, he came out, he yelled at them, said like, fuck you guys suck. Thanks for like having my back, And it's one of those moments where like you can either have his back or not. And then you go to dinner. And so like the next scene is you guys at dinner. You had just had this interaction with him. And then out loud, the 2 characters, when they're sitting at dinner, are talking to each other, wondering if that third person, if they think that third person heard what they said, all the negative stuff they said. And it, like the answer is like, yeah, he talked to you about it. Like I don't like
yeah.
It's not even right. It's not even one of those things where like you know how like in a lot of these choices matter games, like you can sort of see the seams of them, like because they have to like, while your decisions can impact the story, like a lot of the scenes need to start and end a specific way, and so that sometimes causes like characters to not act the way that maybe they are supposed to based on your choices and stuff like that. It wasn't anything like that. It was just straight up like, this is an error. Like whoever wrote this scene didn't know that in the last scene that happened. And that's not the only example of that. It's just like a really, really solid example of it. It is not a game that I think you can get invested in any of these characters because they all suck. They're not like, they're shallow. They're not like interesting. They aren't likable. They're like profoundly unlikable. I wrote in the review that like, they're so unlikable that anytime any of them die, it's like a little victory. Because it just means they're going to shut the fuck up. Like,
That's on the box art.
I fucking hated this game. I hated this game. And it's disappointing because, like, I love The Quarry. I love Until Dawn. Like, I'm in their corner. It's just that, like, it's so bad. They added this, like, improved, like, traversal abilities. So now you can, like, climb over, like, desks or, like, crawl under a thing. And first of all, anytime you crawl under something, it's like, okay, get ready for the jump scare. In the same way that like anytime you like God of War style squeeze through a wall in a horror game, it's like, well, get ready for the fucking jump scare that's about to happen at the end of this.
Yeah.
Like, but that like mobility stuff is in service of nothing. Like there's like small little environmental, like I'm gonna put the most massive air quotes I can around puzzles there are. Like it's all in service of nothing. You have each character has an inventory of like a handful of items that they would have in their pockets or stuff, which is like a cool idea, right? These different characters are gonna have different things on them, but it's basically just a glorified version of like, what flashlight do you have? So like one character has a lighter. One character just straight up has a flashlight. One character is using his camera flash as the flashlight, which is a cool idea, but it doesn't go like nothing happens with any of that. One character has a camera that I fucking do not know what is for. It doesn't work. It basically you pull out the camera and like the game tells you like, oh, when the lens turns green when you're looking through the camera lens, like that's an important thing to take a picture of. And so I was starting to think like, oh, maybe like, because later in the game they said like, make sure you're taking pictures and recording the things that are happening so that we can show it to the cops. And I was like, oh, that'll be kind of cool. Like the pictures that you take are going to be used as evidence, against at the very end of this game. Nope. It's just, I don't know what it's for. It doesn't work very well. You can't really move the camera. It's like zoomed in way too far. Oh my gosh. I was so disappointed in this game. Yeah. Anyway.